Hey guys, welcome back to American Adventure. It's been a while since I recorded a American Adventure episode. So here we are with episode 18, and this episode is going to be about the kiddie pool and a little bit of the encompassing area of the New Orleans spot. So I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of how a water park is built and some of the other details that have to go in. And I'm still also figuring out the themes for the other lands, but right now we have New Orleans being built, and then we're going to have maybe a port of Los Angeles because I really want that. And then I think I'm going to add an additional one, so we're going to have 4 in total. So let's start off with New Orleans, Port of LA, Alaska, and then San Francisco, because I feel like a snow area would be cool to have, honestly, because that would help in displaying all the different weathers or different environments of America. So it kind of worked out in this aspect, so we're going to try that. So right now in front is the pool, working on the pool for the kiddie area. So it's a very generic pool, very simple to build. Just dig holes, place the edges of the pool, and then fill in those gaps with roof, and then fill it with water. So it kind of just very basic way to build a pool. I think most people have figured out that's the way to do it. So at this point, I've realized when building a water park in general, or a pool area, there's a lot of open space, a lot of concrete. There's a lot of not interesting places to go. So it's going to be very strange for not building as much detail as I want, because honestly I want to add as much interest in places and windy paths. And again, with a water park, they're just kind of like big empty areas, but it's because they need those benches, they need lounge chairs and other things. So it's gonna be weird going forward, because I know that I have to have like a area for cabanas and then area for eat. It's completely a different layout versus a traditional theme park. So I want to try my best to keep it as realistic as possible, but I might fudge the rules just a little bit just to get this project somewhat done. But yeah, the American Adventure is almost done, because with this being done, so the water park will be done, and then I still want to build a mini golf course near the hotel, and then maybe make 1 or 2 like utilities in the back. So I want to do a nursery and maybe a ride. Ooh, I can make a ride or a construction area, or not just construction area, oh shoot, there's a word for it I'm looking for, I can't find it. Staging bay for like building a new ride or something, or maybe maintenance. But we're not even at that point yet. So again, there's still little details here and there for the park to be finished, but most of it is done. Like if you saw in my last couple videos ago that I finished all the details inside the park's basically done. I might go in there off camera and just kind of, check in some things, maybe do some freshening it up, and then go from there. I want to try to use Freedom 2000 as little as possible here, but I do get to use it in this build just to help with some of the displays or the way I want to portray things. So I want to try to prevent that, because honestly this project was built in mind with Construction Anarchy and Vanilla as much as possible. Freedom 2000 kind of breaks my rule, but I'm going to use it sparingly, because right now I'm not using it here, especially for this sea serpent's head. But I'm going to use it smartly, if that's even a word. A smart ways. Like I'm trying to make some like ears or something. So the inspiration for this slide is from the Port of Orleans hotel in Walt Disney World, and they have a pool that has a sea dragon, and I think the pool's called the Doubloons pool or something, or something about gold. Again, I don't remember the the name, but it's okay. I pulled pictures, and this is what I'm 100% ripping off, and I'm not ashamed. I'm ripping this 100% off. So I decided just to make a very simple sea dragon, and then there's the staircase, goes to the slide, and the slide goes through the mouth and then into the pool, and it just works. I think it works well, and it kind of feels like Mardi Gras and kind of mystical in a way. Those are candy canes for the ladders, which I found really cool to use, so you should use those. They're pretty nice little techniques. I haven't found anything new lately in designing using pieces using pieces that are unintended, so I've done here and there some different stuff. So right now I'm just going to figure out the plant life in this area for the kiddie pool. I want to kind of keep it tropical, because I think, again, the water parks kind of dictates to be very tropical. A lot of palm trees, a lot of bushes, and I'm copying things from like other things from other water parks. So Six Flags is the main one for me because I live near it. So not Six Flags, sorry, Soak City. So Soak City is near Knott's Berry Farm, so I am copying that one 100%. I'm gonna try to figure out some benches and things. Now, here's the weird thing about water parks and then Parkitect, because again, this game's not designed for this, so this is just a huge walking area for guests to get lost in, and so it's kind of weird to have it here. But again, I'm trying to make this as realistic as possible, and I think a water park is a good enough challenge for me to try it out and see what I can do. So I'm going to put a lot of benches in places, going to maybe split a lot of food areas for guests to kind of wander toward to and not make the area so blank. But I'm also going to try to use flat rides and make them look like water rides or something, or try to make them different. I will figure that out, but I have this rough idea of taking a flat ride and then making it look special for like a water ride or something. So that's the plan so far. So I'm going to use the water coaster most likely, maybe a log ride, maybe some other water rides things, so I can make this place not as dead. Because I saw it on Coaster Beat video that it was just kind of blah. But again, you can't help that, because again, it is not intended for this game to have water park. Until we get a DLC, which I doubt we'll get. But wouldn't that be fun? Is a water park DLC for Parkitect? It would be very interesting. It would be very interesting. So in this area, I needed to build an additional building to give us more another anchor for the guests to kind of go to and maybe shop in. So I think that's a restaurant. I don't remember when I built this a couple weeks ago, so I don't remember the exact thing I put in there, but I kind of wanted to make sure that it had something interest for the guests to go to. The other things that you will not see in this video because they were in off camera was I built a station for the Splash Battle ride, which I still need a name, by the way. If you guys have suggestions for the Splash Battle ride, if you have a name for it, put it down in the comments, because I honestly don't have a name for it yet. I also don't have a name for any of these lands. I might just name them after the places they're from. So New Orleans, Port of LA, Alaska, and San Francisco. But again, I haven't really named things properly. I'm kind of building this park off the fly because I do want to get it done, and I have enough inspiration and drive right now to actually work on it, because that's the main goal for this year, is to finish this as soon as possible. So hopefully by February, maybe even March. That might be even too ambitious, I don't know, because I still have I have like 3 other lands to work on and make water slides all over the place. We'll get there, because I'm also doing the Coaster Beat diorama for January. I was going to skip it, but then a little spark of inspiration happened and I decided to start working on it. So yeah. I have now multiple projects going again. I always do this to myself, and it's kind of funny. I say I don't want to, but then I do it. So onwards, because I still have to do some other like Parks University, which I want to do a shape episode, another shape episode, so maybe about vehicles, and then creatures might have to come later. Still have to figure this out. It's a lot going on. A lot going on. So right now, I'm just figuring out some details and things and what else to add in this area, because I feel like this kiddie area has like nothing to do. So I'm trying to imagine what kids like to do. They like to swim, go down slides, and then I'm like, oh, I need to build a splash pad. So just very simple cylinders. Not cylinders, those are discs. Come on. They're discs, and then made them in 2 different colors, because blue, 2 different colors of blue, and then fountains, and then I triggered them, I think, with the controller to make them go on and off every once in a while, just to kind of mess around, or just make it more realistic, because it's on like a timer. So that was the objective here. And then I added some other things. Actually, it looks like I skip onto building this building. How funny. So I jump around from project to project, and that's okay. So if you're working on a big project, build something in this corner, walk away, go work on something else, and while you're building, your brain like thinks of an idea of what you were previously working on, like, oh, I have an idea now, and you go back to it. So I found that very useful to just do. So I went over to this building to kind of finish up the detailing on making it. Again, I'm not sure what architecture New Orleans is. It looks colonial, and I don't know what else the words are for it. I should have researched this before, but there's a style to New Orleans, kind of matches colonial. I would say colonial, or plantation. Oh, that's the word, plantation. Yeah, they look like plantation houses because that's the area. So again, I went through on a Google raid and just went through a whole bunch of pictures and found a whole bunch of things. I think I previously said this in the video before that the huge inspiration I took was from Legoland. So Miniland has a New Orleans Miniland, and I pulled that directly. So I just looked at the Lego models. I'm like, oh, I can replicate that in Parkitect. That actually works out really well. So this has been stated before. Silverite said this in a video a while ago. He says that he used Lego sets as inspiration, and he's right. They're the perfect way to use inspiration because they kind of match the same. Lego, Parkitect, they kind of have the same like coreness to that. You have pieces, and you can use them in so many different ways that it makes something new. So it's the same thing here in Parkitect, and so I kind of pulled from Lego. So if you're really looking for inspiration, go browse on a website called Brickset and just look up themes, and you just go crazy. Just go find a set and be like, can I replicate that in Parkitect? Oh, maybe I can, and then you just replicate it. So it's a cool little life hack. So there's this wonderful looking little building. I like it. It looks good to me. Yeah, just figuring out details and things like that. So again, I'm just doing random like projects here and there, figuring out where things should go. And then yeah, the building for this splash battle hasn't been built, so that's fine. But I'm just still figuring out painting of the terrain, figuring out some of the environment. It's all experimentation. Nothing's really planned. And that's okay. This is just the way I work. Sometimes it changes depending on the mood of what I'm doing. So here we are doing the wonderful triggering of the water fountains to make them look sporadic. So it worked out really well. And then I just copied some chocolate bars from the hotel to make them lounge chairs. Very simple build. Nothing too complicated. Again, you don't have to go super complicated in some things. Sometimes simple is the way to go, and it portrays what you're trying to tell, the story, or you're trying to show. So that's kind of the same. That's my philosophy and all. It's like if it portrays what it is, then you're doing a good job. So just gonna finish up all the little details like lights in the water for the pool. Again, I don't think this park would be open that long in the night. Maybe until 7 p.m. and then the park closes. I don't know, but like the American Adventure Park, the main park will probably stay open until midnight, I would say, but not the water park. Water park would probably stay open until 7, maybe 8 at the latest. I don't know. So right now I wanted to add one more building, and I found a way to do a transition. So I was going to build a very simple lighthouse on the edge of this river. And this was probably the better way to do a transition. So I figured out like I can do transitions by using rivers to cut them up, like I did in American Adventure. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to build a very simple lighthouse. This lighthouse could be either in New Orleans or LA. It will work for both. So I kind of like the idea of using buildings as your transitions. So if you haven't seen a transition, I would highly suggest you check out one of my episodes Parkitect University has on transitions, and it will just explain what they are and what they do. And so I just want to try to transition from one city to the next, and I think this is the better way to do it. So here is a lighthouse. So it's made out of cylinders, discs. It's made out of walls, I think. Yeah, here's some of the walls. There's a little house next to the lighthouse, and there's some rocks. It's a very simple build. Honestly, this build was like a 20-minute build for me. It was very, very quick. Nothing too crazy. I've already reiterate, simple is sometimes really good. Don't overcomplicate yourself. Take a moment. Try to build the thing that you're trying to envision in your head. Practice builds also help too. Again, I have so much practice in this game that it's come second nature, but in the beginning it was not. So there's the lighthouse, and then there's my typical tile work on the top of the building, and then I used adventure roofs for the roof, and then those are chimney pieces for the windows. A very weird piece to use, but it works. Yeah. So I'm going to leave you here, and I'm going to show you the tour in live and just show you all the little close-ups, and I'll see you over there. Welcome to the kiddie pool of Harbors of America. So there's some things I forgot to mention in my time-lapse. Again, that sometimes happens when I record. I forget. It's okay. So I built a tail also for my sea serpent because I felt like the sea serpent would go under here and then appear over here just to kind of add some interest to the place and kind of add a point, a POI to kind of get guests interested in walking in. So that was kind of the objective. Some of the enclosing areas around, I like it. I like how this looks, honestly. It's not going to be the most detailed versus some of my other areas, but getting it down finally is a way to kind of see that this idea works and the water park is not as daunting as I thought it would be. So we're just continuing on. So here's the little lighthouse that I built. Planning on some pathing for the ports of LA, but that'll be a couple more episodes down the line. I need to add an antenna on top of this lighthouse maybe, or add a flag. I'll do that later. Here is the building that the Splash Battle ride got. So I want to maybe make a sign here that says the company that does this tours. Again, if you guys have an idea for the name, I'll probably use it. And then we'll just go from there. So again, another very typical building of mine. Nothing too fancy, kind of matches this changing room over here, kind of the same idea. But I didn't like the idea of having a bridge right here. Again, with the clearance of how high this is, it wasn't going to happen. So I think I found another solution. And so over here is the rough planning of where the mountain would go. So this is kind of the centerpiece of the entire park. So it would be where all the slides come from, and each side will be a different representation of an environment. I kind of want to mix it together and then find ways to kind of do transitions. So this is kind of a challenging way to do it. So the mountain is basically going to be like 4 different environments. So we'll see how that looks. If it doesn't look good, then I always will change the idea. This is just more planning phases of where things will go. Again, those are not in concrete. Those can easily change. But I'm happy with the look of everything, how it's going. Because honestly, I had an issue in the beginning of this build that it wasn't going to look good, or I just didn't feel the inspiration of what a water park would be. So this is actually turning out really well. So my confidence is a little bit heightened. So I feel like this is going to be a good area. So like for the ports of LA, I have an idea of using containers and maybe a ship and things like the port of Los Angeles. We'll see what that looks like. So it's going to be very urban, and that's something I've never done in a while. So I want to try that very urban-like type of thing. That's why I think the lighthouse fits for either side. It'll be our transition building. But I think the next video will be about this water slide and pool. So I think the pool, let's go mark it out. I think the pool will sit here like this, and then the slides come from this side off the mountain. So I'm going to build like a quarter of the mountain and then figure out my pathing up and over to connect this path. So that, I think, is the next challenge, is to connect these two paths. That's what I want to do. And so this is going to be your typical body slides. So ones that go in a lot of helixes. Maybe there's one that is out or open slide, and one that's closed slide. That's the idea, that make this the next area. And then maybe I want to build like a swamp house. Ooh, a swamp house would be like a crocodile. No, is it alligator or crocodile? No, it's alligator. Alligator, like an alligator hunter's house or something. Oh, that would be good. A hunter house right here or over here, kind of showcasing about alligators, and make this more swampy, because this is like city of New Orleans, but this area is going to be more swamp infested. So I want to do maybe more water inlets and do some more trees and some more of lily pads and logs. Okay, so that's the objective for next episode, is that. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up then. So thank you for watching and enjoying my content. And if you want to support me, you can do that on Patreon, or you can continue watching my videos, subscribe, like, all that cool stuff. And yeah, I want to thank my Patreons once again. So thank you for watching. I will catch you guys in the next episode for American Adventure. Hopefully I can pump these out a little bit faster this month, but we'll see. No promises. But I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.